Turul, this is a trap, or laid out to catch you.
This realization dawned on Turul with the weight of betrayal, as he braced himself against the harsh truth of his situation, every muscle in his body coiling with readiness. The intricate trap and meticulousness of his capture had all become painfully clear. His captors had cunningly manipulated him, exploiting his heroic instincts, to lure him into their laid trap. The wardens approached their strung captive, each taking a role in handling his legs. One supported him, while the other delicately removed his boots. This routine procedure underscored their methodical approach to handling prisoners. Removing his footwear was not merely a practical step. It symbolically stripped away the elements of his autonomy and readiness as a rebel. However, a subtle, yet significant shift occurred in the young fighter's demeanor, when one assistant began to fiddle with the belt on his trousers. More invasive than removing his footwear, this action triggered increased alertness in Turul, intensifying his sense of vulnerability. Disregarding his dignity marked the warden's unbuttoning and removal of Turul's trousers. Within moments, he found himself wholly stripped, hanging exposed and bare, in the chilling dungeon air. This act stripped him, not only of his clothing, but also of his identity and power, rendering him profoundly defenseless, in the eyes of his captors and fellow prisoners. Suspended above the pit, Turul's muscular torso was starkly exposed, revealing the full glory of his form to everyone in the dungeon. The chief warden assessed this display with a calculating eye, considering the captive's endurance for future torments. The assistants admired the manly beauty and strength displayed, while Turul's friends looked on with expressions filled with concern, fully aware of their friend's dire circumstances.
No bagging,
barked the chief warden. His directive was clear: any clothing obscuring the prisoner's torso had to be removed. This order, driven by the king's peculiar preferences, ensured that nothing would shield the muscular build, and any remaining semblance of privacy, from view during the upcoming encounter. The assistants then secured an ankle spreader to Turul's legs, stretching them wide apart. The sturdy metal bar, exceeding the width of his broad shoulders, forced his stance uncomfortably wide. Shackles clinked ominously at each end of the bar, as they locked around his ankles, permitting minimal movement. This device ensured he remained exposed and helplessly spread, enhancing his defenselessness against what was to come.
No Borky.
The chief warden bellowed, his voice echoing a strict command that allowed no resistance. This order underscored the king's stern requirements for complete submission and secure restraint. It highlighted the expectation that every prisoner, especially a formidable fighter like Turul, remain fully compliant and securely bound, eliminating any possibility of retaliation or escape that could threaten the king's safety. Then, unexpectedly, a large bucket of cold water was thrown over Turul's suspended form. The sudden splash sent a shockwave through his system, jolting his already tense muscles with an intense chill that added another layer of discomfort to his ordeal. The purpose became apparent as one assistant approached with a large, rough brush mounted on a long wooden handle. He scrubbed the bare skin with vigor, the stiff bristles harsh against his exposed flesh. This scrubbing served to cleanse and inflict discomfort, as if preparing or punishing the well-built captive under the guise of purification.
No Stinky.
The chief warden shouted, enforcing another of the king's stringent requirements: that the captive be thoroughly cleansed of dirt or odors. This directive was essential for Turul, who needed to appear impeccably clean, despite the grime and sweat from the pit. The insistence on removing foul smells highlighted the meticulous standards set for his presentation to the king. Another torrent of cold water doused the sculpted torso, this time targeting his front. The subsequent scrubbing was more intense and painful than the earlier treatment on his back. As the rough bristles of the brush scraped across his sensitized skin, the stinging sensation exacerbated the discomfort, causing him to wince and hiss from the acute pain. Finally, Turul was stripped entirely, leaving his impressive physique fully exposed under the harsh dungeon lights. He was securely restrained, with no chance of escaping the unyielding grip of the metal shackles and spreader bar. Every inch of his body had been meticulously cleaned, ensuring he was presented in prime condition. His well-defined muscles glistened, showcasing him not just as a man of strength, but a carefully prepared specimen, a prized catch, ready for whatever came next. The chief warden approached Turul from behind, his rough hand gripping the suspended hero's hair, forcibly tilting his head back to extend his neck. Leaning close, his breath foul against Turul's ear, he sneered with a vulgar, triumphant grin.
Now, you're ready to ascend to the king's guest chamber. The Tower of Evil, as you lot name it.